Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. You are watching our cloud school where we are discussing various data integration scenarios and how do we resolve those scenarios with the help of data integration service available in Azure, that is Azure Data Factory. Our today's scenario is we have number of JSON files in the Azure Storage account and we want to copy those files to the CosmosDB, which is again a NoSQL CosmosDB we are going to create into our Azure subscription, and we want to perform these activities with the help of Azure Data Factory. So how do we do that? Let's see in the demonstration. So I'll be moving to my Azure subscription where I will first of all create the Azure Cosmos DB instance. So this is my Azure instance. So this is my Azure subscription where I'm going to create the Cosmos DB instance. To create a Cosmos DB instance in this particular resource group, I'm going to click on this create new or create resource block. You can search for the Cosmos DB keyword. So that's the keyword I'm looking for. And here is the resource. I've already marked this particular resource type as in favorites so that I can find the resource here in the favorite section. So let me just select this option and click on create. So our objective of this demonstration is to create a Cosmos DB instance first of all, which is of type NoSQL. There are different type of Cosmos DB instance which you can create, but for this demonstration Cosmos DB for NoSQL is the option which we're looking for. So let's click on create as in Cosmos DB as SQL Server instance, and then I'm going to call it as in cos or prefix, then the name of channel which is OCS, and then demo02. It will make sure that the name is not being utilized by anybody else. I'm going to use the least possible option for the demonstration. Click on no. I do not want any multi-redundancy or geo-redundancy options. Default option networking publicly available for true. When I want to have a backup for my Cosmos DB, I'll say that I would like less backups. It's going to be more of a every once a day. And then next I'm going to use the day, number of days retention backend supposed to be created. Geo redundant I'm going to select as in local redundant. This is I am selecting based on because of the demo purpose, but it may be possible that in your case in your project you might be choosing any specific configuration depending upon your requirement. To save the cost, I'm using the least possible option for the Cosmos DB. Rest of the settings I will keep it as is. I'll click on review and create, and that should basically give me all the options which I have selected to provision this Cosmos DB instance. I'm happy with the selection. I'll click on create, and that should create the Cosmos DB instance in less than a minute or so. While the Cosmos DB instance is getting created, I'll go to the source storage account where we have all our files which you would like to move from one storage account to this storage account to the Cosmos DB. So I'll be going to the container, and inside the input container we have all our files which are of type JSON which we want to use for the demonstration. So these are two files for an example I want to use it, or maybe this one as well. So there are number of different JSON files I have it, and I can upload another one. So let me just upload another JSON, and all of these JSONs are basically contain a different set of data. So I'm going to upload this file 01 as well for the demonstration. Now if I just show you this particular file which I've just now uploaded, the file structure or the data structure is totally different. You can see that this is the data structure which I have it in this file. If I go to the demo.json, this has got some different data structure, which is this. If I go to this coffee data.json, then it has got a different data structure. So what is the point here is I am trying to give you a demonstration in which I have multiple JSON files which is having a different data structure altogether, and I would like to upload all these files from the blob storage to the Cosmos DB using Azure Data Factory. So my Cosmos DB instance is successfully created, or maybe it's taking time to create. I'll wait for the operations to be succeeded. So the instance is successfully created. Let's click on this go to resource button so that it will launch the CosmosDB dashboard. And here in the dashboard, it says that do you want to create a new container within the default database? I can click on this to create a new container, or I can go to the containers option, and here I can click on the browse to browse any containers if there are any available. If not, then I can click on this collection to create a new container right here from this particular section. So I've already clicked on that, and that will launch this document explorer or query explorer. And from here I can basically specify the name of the database. So let me give it a database name as in MyDB for the demo. And then here are the option for specifying the auto scale, manual scale, and then you have to specify the container. So think database as in the database you have it in the SQL server, and then container as in the table you have it in the database. So I'm going to call it as in, let's say, table 1, table 01 for an example. You can call it as a container as well. Next you have to specify the container or the partition key. So I'm going to use index as name. You can give it any name for defining the name of your partition key. So I'm going to call it as an index. So here are my options. I have the database MyDB, container as table 01, or I can call it as a container 01 as well. Next you have the partition key, which is named as an index /. Let's click on OK. That should basically create a database and a container with a table name 0. So my CosmosDB database has been successfully created along with the table. Now within this item, I can explore all the items which are being part of, or the rows which are already been added to this table. If not, I can manually click here and upload the existing row, or by uploading a new item. For an example, if I would like to have a bulk data JSON, which is the JSON I want to upload, so I can click on the upload. That should upload a record as in JSON. So let's ignore this error. If I refresh now, I should have a record. You can see that a new record with ID, and this is the index data, which is a partition key name, which is a column name basically for my table. And inside this particular column I have all my record, or this is the record I have it basically. You can also create a new item right here from this particular section, and you can define the data of for your new item. So our objective is for this demonstration is not to talk too much about the CosmosDB. Now what I want to tell you here is I would like to now upload these files onto this particular table with the automation using Azure Data Factory. And for that I'm going to use this Data Factory instance which we have created in our previous demonstration. I'll be clicking on this author where I'm going to define a new pipeline. To define a new pipeline, click on this add new resource pipeline, and that will open the canvas for defining the pipeline. Now as we are talking about copying the file from the blob storage to the CosmosDB, hence I'm going to use the copy data activity on the canvas. Copy data activity requires certain parameters to be configured, which you can find it here at the bottom lower section. So general tab has the default description and other properties which you can change it if you want to. I'm not going to do any changes, or I'm not going to make any changes as such in the general configuration. Let's go to the next tab, which is a source tab. Here you have to specify the source dataset, which means that the source of your actual information which your copy data activity is supposed to be dealing with it. If you would like, you can specify the source data set from the existing data set. If not, then you may want to copy or select or create a new data set. So let me just click on this plus new by to create a new data set. I can also click on this 3 dot and define a new data set under this particular section. So let me just click add here new data set. Here we are looking for the blob storage as in data set because our files are into a blob storage. So I'm going to click on continue. The file format, we are looking for a JSON file only, so I'm going to choose the file format as in JSON because we want to upload the file as in JSON file to this blob storage. We are going to call it as in ds blob source. And link service, I'm going to use the same link service which we have it in the source data, or I can also use it at the copy data as well. Or let's simply create a new link service. We are going to call it as a link ds source, or I can call link service ls for link service, and then blob, choose the subscription id, and then the storage account where we have our file, which is this storage account. I'm going to test the connection, and that will create a new link service. I do not have to check in this particular link service. That will automatically be created as soon as I click on this create button. So that is it, the link service is created. Next I'm going to click on this browse option. So now what is going to happen is your data set is going to connect to the blob storage using this particular link service. So let's click on browse, and it has connected to my storage account, and it's displaying all the containers. So let's click on the container where we have our file. So you can see that we have number of files which we would like to use. So for the very first demonstration, I would just want to copy of single file. So I'm going to choose a file, let's say demo file, and then we'll specify that this is the demo file we want to upload, which is a single file. So let's click on that OK button. So that will create a new data set, which you will find it here under the data set option. So you can see that a new data set is created. If I double click here, you will find the option, and if I click on the preview data, that should basically preview the data which is there inside this demo JSON file. Right now, let's go to the pipeline, and we need to specify the target or the destination. Our target is the CosmosDB, so you have to specify a data set which is of type CosmosDB, and I'm going to create a new CosmosDB because I do not have any existing CosmosDB dataset which I can select. So let's click on new, and here I'm going to specify the CosmosDB dataset type, which is a CosmosDB for NoSQL, because that is the type of CosmosDB which we have created. So let's select this option, and here we have to specify the link service. Again, we do not have any link service. Actually we have it, but let me show you how to create a link service for CosmosDB. Just click on add new, same CosmosDB. I'm going to, this is the name I would like to give. Next, again select the subscription, same procedure, select the CosmosDB account, and then database name which we have created just now in our CosmosDB. Let's test the connection. Hopefully it should be okay with that. The connection is okay, as we are using the CosmosDB as a public account. So that's going to create the link service. The link service is there. Now next you have to specify as the container name. So we have this container name as in table 101. So I'm going to specify this container name from this option. So let's click OK. Here we have to specify the behavior. Do you want to have the insert or the update behavior? If it is update behavior, then you may need to specify the further updates to the section. So as of now, I'm going to keep the behavior as an insert by default. So let's validate our pipeline, because we have configured the source and sink both together. Now our pipeline is validated successfully, which means that I should be able to run the pipeline. So I'm going to run the pipeline in debug mode, but like we know that we can publish the changes and we can trigger the pipeline as a manual trigger or the automation trigger as well. As I've created or triggered the pipeline in the debug mode, it has created or opened the output instance within the pipeline run ID, which is this run ID, which I can monitor from this monitoring section in case if you want to. So let's wait for this pipeline to be succeeded. I'm waiting. I'm looking for a demo JSON files to be uploaded onto CosmosDB. So let's, while it is performing the action, let's verify the JSON object of or the JSON data which we have it in this particular demo JSON. So this is our demo JSON which we are looking for to be uploaded onto the CosmosDB, which is this CosmosDB. At the moment, right now, it does not have any other data than the data which we have uploaded manually. Let's wait for this pipeline to be succeeded. So the pipeline run is successfully completed. If I click on this lens icon, you would find that it has copied or read 1 and then the rows return 1. Now if we go back to our CosmosDB instance and if I refresh it, I should have another row created. You can see that a new row has been created here. Let's validate this, and this is the data we have it in our row, which is the same data which we are looking for. So that proves how to copy the data from the storage account to the Cosmos DB using the single file. Let's look at a second example wherein we would like to copy multiple files from source location to the destination location. For that, I'm going to use this wildcard path, and here I'm going to specify give me all the files which we have it as in CSV, and we would like to copy all of these files from this location. So let's go back to the open data flow here, and here we are going to specify nothing. So we are not going to specify any file names. What is going to happen, your data set will copy all the file and it will try and match to the destination. So let's validate the pipeline. So here, just to revise, we have just made the decision that we are going to copy all the JSON file, not the CSV file, all the JSON type of file from the source location, and we are going to insert it at the destination, right? So let's validate this again. Validation is successfully completed. Let's debug again. This time we are going to expect number of files to be copied at the CosmosDB location. So the pipeline activity is successfully completed. If I click on the lens icon, it will see that you will see that it has got now 4 files reading and 4 files are writing it to the CosmosDB. So if I refresh it here, we should have 4 new entry. So this is a entry, we have it as an ID, right? And then next you have the data for the next file, and then again the next file and next file. So all of the files are basically copied. So in the first demonstration, we have seen how do we copy a single file. In the second demonstration, we have seen how do we copy the multiple files. At the last, I would show you a slight configuration to our destination or the sync CosmosDB dataset. So let me just open the CosmosDB dataset. Here the container name, we are hard coding it like the name of the container as in table name. But what if you would like to insert a record into a container, you dynamically by passing the parameter as is. So let me just click on the edit, and here you can specify the name of the container. And for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new parameter, and I'm going to call it as in container name, which is the name of the parameter I want to give. No default value, I want to use it. And here on the add dynamic section, I'll click on it. I use this parameter, and you can see that it's using the parameters as in the name of the container, right? So our container name is okay now. As now if I go back to the pipeline, you would see that in the sync we have the dataset property, and in the property we have the parameters which we have to specify. So I'm going to call it as a new parameter, which is going to be table 01, and that should work basically. So let's validate the pipeline. The pipeline validation is successfully completed, which means that it should be able to create the record in this table. Now what if I specify the table name or the container name as in 02, which does not exist in the CosmosDB? Is it going to create a new record or new container itself if the container does not exist? So let's validate that. Validation is successfully completed. Let's debug it and see what behavior it performs. Is it going to create a container, or it will fail the pipeline and say that okay, the container name which you have specified is not exist, so it is going to fail and it's not able to run the pipeline. Let's watch it out. So as expected, the pipeline has failed, and it says that the collection table 02 does not exist in the container, which means that the container has to be needs to be there while you use that. But the use of the parameter is definitely you can make it out, and if you provide the accurate or the correct values to the parameter, it should work. Like in this case, I'm passing it now. Now if I run the pipeline again, it should basically run the code so without having any error. So that is it in this demonstration. Just to revise, we have learned how to use the CosmosDB and Azure Storage account to copy data from Azure Storage account to CosmosDB using Azure Data Factory pipeline using the copy data activity. We have also seen how do we copy a single file by providing the name of the file itself in the source dataset. And also we have discussed how do we copy the multiple files using the file filter options, right, from the source location to the destination location. At last, we have seen how do we parameterize the dataset, which is your CosmosDB dataset, and use the parameters into your pipeline or data flow activity. That is it in this demonstration. I hope you have found this useful. If it is, please do consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. Thanks for watching it. See you in the next video.